So there we were, convention 2022, about to go out onto the risers. The stage manager looked at a group of us who were at the front, surveyed the varying states of our ties, pointed at Cawthorne and said, "That's how to tie a tie." So I hope you don't mind me sharing with you how I tie my tie. So there are lots of different knots. There's the 4-in-hand, the double Windsor, the half Windsor, the Oriental, the Kelvin, and a bunch of others. I don't know what this one's called, but I was reading an article in, of all things, the Daily Telegraph in about 1990. I was about to start training young officers in the Royal Marines at Lympstone, and this is the knot that I learnt, that I taught them, and that they're still tying to this day. And the point of the tie is to be consistent. It needs to stay up when it's right up in the collar, when it's tied, and it needs to be broad at the top, narrow at the bottom, broadly symmetrical, and that, if you can achieve all of those things, you're onto a winner. So the way I tie this tie, this knot, is with the seam outermost. That's not the way a lot of knots are tied, but it is the way with this particular one. And I have the long end on the right, the short, thinner end on the left, and it's about, I don't know if you can see, it's about a hand's breadth above the waistband, the shorter end, the thinner end. So we start by putting the thin end over the thick end. We then hold between the right finger and thumb the point where they cross, and then we take seam outermost. We take the thick end and we pass it in through the gap between where you're holding it and the neck, and push it down through the back. And the seam is still outermost at the moment. Then, changing hands on the crossing point, we take the thick end and we pass it over the front. And the seam is now to the rear. Back, in through the back, out through the front, through the gap thus created, and then it ties up nice and neatly. And it will stay like that for as long as you require. Finally, do up the waistcoat buttons, leaving the bottom button undone, in keeping with tradition, unless the course director suggests otherwise. And finally, the jacket to complete the ensemble. Clearly, I might need to do a bit of work on my pocket square to get that in the right place, and we all need to be consistent on how much pocket square we show, and there'll be direction on that, no doubt, in due course. And finally, seek to shoot about an inch or maybe 3/4 of an inch of cuff. And there we have our ensemble. Hope you enjoy the time. Thank you.